Hey everyone, so this is our first episode of Career Talk where we're basically going to talk about all things career related. We're going to start from internships and work our way up to CEO. So the first episode is going to be about how to get an internship, and who better to segue into this topic than Lauren Berger, the intern queen. Ding! In your book, you talk about a dream list. What is a dream list?
You can make this on Excel, on Google Docs, on a napkin, whatever you want. Just try to have it with you at all times so you can just pull it up on your phone, pull it up on your laptop. But the first column is going to be company. So of course, the company where you're applying for an internship. The second column is going to be the company website. Then you have the company contact information. So who's the internship coordinator? What's their email? What's their phone number? Then you're going to put the materials required. Some internships will require resumes, cover letters, letters of recommendation, whatever it might be. Write that down. You want to make sure that you follow directions. If you don't follow directions, you're probably not going to get the internship. So, and then you're going to track the date that you apply for the internship and of course the internship deadline. Now, the last column is so important because it's the follow-up category. You are going to follow up 2 weeks after you submit your materials. And that's why it's so important to track the date that you send your materials out. You want to make sure that you're staying on top of these applications and you're reaching out, you're confirming that people received your materials, and you're really taking initiative and showing that you're interested.
Is it inappropriate to hit them up on Twitter or Instagram, or what are the rules and etiquette for internshipping?
Yeah, so let's discuss the social media etiquette. So I think Facebook is weird. I do. I think it would be weird to find a CEO of a company on Facebook and send them a friend request. I feel like people take Facebook very personally. They use it to share photos with friends and family. I feel like they don't necessarily want an interested student or even an intern finding them there. I think Twitter is fair game as long as their feed is not private. If their feed is public, I think that's a great way to follow an executive at a company to find out what's interests them, what drives them, what news articles are they sharing. You could tweet to them and say, I just applied for an internship at your company. I'm so excited. And I've heard about students landing internships because of tweets.
Oh, so interesting.
This,
all right, guys.
Yeah, it does work. And then LinkedIn is a must. I mean, you have to have a LinkedIn profile, and LinkedIn is a great way to search the company that you want to work for and then find out what friends you have in common. A great trick is also to see which alumni from your college or university work at your dream companies.
Okay, terrible resumes.
I've seen resumes where the students just totally leave off their contact information. So again, if I'm an employer and I'm interested in your resume, I want to contact you. That's the next step. The resume should really help you land the internship. Make sure you have a professional email address. I just helped my little cousin last week. She had an email address that was like princess747. So I was like, oh, no. We did a nice first name, middle initial, last name at gmail.com. Also, make sure your education is on there. As an employer, the second I look at your resume, I want to understand where you are in life. What year are you? Are you in college? Are you in high school? When do you graduate? That information is really pertinent on the resume. And then also the formatting, make sure it's consistent. There should be the same number of spaces between every category. So I think the best resumes I've seen have a little bit of color. They're not doing the traditional formatting. Maybe they have a little side margin that lists some of their on-campus or extracurricular activities. Make sure the information is chronological. I've seen some backwards resumes where the first thing I'll see on there is from like 2002, and I'm thinking, huh? Otherwise, I would say that I just see a lot of resumes that clearly aren't tailored for the position that you're applying for. If you're going after a social media position, then you want to make sure when you talk about all the different experiences you've had, you talk about social media. You say things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, Snapchat, whatever it might be.
Cover letters.
If we have an employer who's hiring interns in Los Angeles and they get a resume from a student who goes to school in Oklahoma, but maybe they're from Los Angeles, the employer doesn't know that. It's your job to connect the dots and say, yes, I do go to college in Oklahoma. However, I'm going to be home over the summer in Los Angeles, where I'm from, and I'm going to be available to intern from May until August, or whatever the time frame is. Also, if you're a senior or even a high school junior, maybe you're a college freshman, you're a little younger, but you're really ambitious, call that out in the cover letter. Yes, I'm a freshman, but I've done all of my research and I'm ready and prepared to take on this internship. Letters of recommendation are also frequently requested, so it's always good to have 3 different types of letters of recommendation on hand at all times. One academic reference, so that's from a professor who you had a great experience with. One professional reference, so maybe it was your boss at your first job. My first job was at the Red Lobster. And then also a character reference, so someone who's in your personal life and your social circle who can speak to your, the personal traits that make you great for any position.
For the personal one, family members, do they count or no?
Yeah, I think you could definitely have family members. If anyone in your social circle has a really cool job or like a really unique take on, again, you and why you would make a great addition to any company, I think that person would be great to write the letter.
Make sure you're a nice person. So the next topic that I want to redabble back on is social media. How do you monitor your social media?
So I always say, give yourself the presidential test. If you were running for president tomorrow, what are people gonna find on you? Make sure that you're going through all those Facebook photos, and I know it takes a long time, block out a weekend to do it, but get those Facebook photos. Yes, get those Facebook photos out of there. If you're hesitant, if you're unsure, just delete it, because who cares? You can save it on your personal computer. The world doesn't need to see it. You also want to make sure that you're updating these channels frequently. A lot of employers are going to look at your Twitter feed or your Instagram, and they want to know that you're integrating these tools into your daily life. A lot of people are hiring, millennials and high school students because they want help with their social media presence.
True.
So they want to see that you've been posting frequently and it hasn't been, 3 months since your last blog.
If you don't want to private some albums, what I recommend is just open another account and private that and just add your immediate friends and family. And that way you can still keep that sense of freedom to just post what you want. But then on your public accounts, you can be more professional or just be the best version of what you want your public image to be. So how does one prepare for the interview?
Yeah, so the interview is so important because as good as your resume is, if you don't walk in and if you're not a great reflection of the material mentioned on your resume, you're probably not going to get the position. Of course, we all know that you have to dress appropriately. Now, companies today tend to be a little bit more casual in nature. However, it's still crucial that you're dressed to impress. And don't worry about feeling stupid because you're overdressed for an interview. I think it's really nice when a student comes into an interview and an employer says, wow, they really dressed up. They're really taking this seriously. So remember, that's a good thing. I would stay away from jeans, from flip-flops, from sneakers for internship and job interviews. So of course, you go to the interview, you arrive on time, if not 15 minutes early. You come with copies in your hand of all of your materials. If the interviewer didn't have time to look at your resume beforehand, you want to say, here you go.
That's happened to me.
I think taking notes during an interview, especially if the employer starts to go into detail about what the position entails, is completely fine.
So after the interview, do you recommend sending a follow-up note, a thank you card?
Oh yes, my intern queen's secret tip is that the intern that sends the thank you note gets the internship. Is it always the case? No, unfortunately it's not.
But it helps.
I'm telling you, it is like the bonus point. So after the interview, when you go back in your car or to your dorm room or you go back home, you want to take the time to write a thank you note. It can be 5 sentences long. Thank the employer for taking time out of their day to sit with you. Reference something you spoke about in the interview and tell them that you look forward to hearing from them in the future. And I'm telling you, if a company is deciding between 2 students and a thank you note lands on their desk, the student that sends the thank you note gets the internship.
Because it shows that they're thoughtful. They're thoughtful and they're very conscious.
Hi Michelle, so my question is, how do I get ready for a job interview? Because I can get really anxious and it's horrible. So yeah, love you.
Aww.
All right, the best way to get ready for a job interview is, first of all, take a deep breath and do exercises outside of the whole job interview scenario to try to build your confidence. I always say, talk to the Subway guy. Like, go to Subway, talk to the sandwich artist, but engage in conversation with strangers. As silly as that sounds, you want to get comfortable with small talk with people that you encounter in everyday life.
Okay, next question. I love this girl.
How do you get an internship without experience? Most internships look for experience in the field.
I think I know what she's trying to say.
If you don't have relevant internship experience, that's when you start to dig. Have you had a part-time job? If you don't have part-time job experience, what about volunteer experience? Have you and your family ever fed the homeless on Thanksgiving, or ever volunteered at, anywhere really, at a Boys and Girls Club, at a soup kitchen? That's all stuff that you can put on your resume. You can also put relevant courses that you've taken. There's a lot of high schoolers that are going to these magnet programs, and you're taking some really impressive courses. So if you're taking a really cool art class, a really cool technology class, put that on your resume. If you're working on any really interesting class projects, that's also something you can put on your resume. And then don't forget those extracurricular activities. When I was in high school, I was the co-captain of the dance team. Hey, but that would go on my resume. So don't underestimate the power of that on-campus involvement. It is huge, and something that employers tell me they really want to see a lot of.
So I want to thank you, Lauren, so much for giving all these great sound advice. If you want to jump into the world of internships and you want to learn everything about this, this is your Bible. All Work, No Pay is your Bible for all things internships.
Internships are so important, and I'll just reiterate that it all starts with an internship, and it just takes one internship, and you never know what the outcome of that one experience is going to be. So good luck on your internship journey.
Good luck, guys. We love you. Bye.